Farcaster 101 is an educational series brought to you by GM Farcaster in partnership with Snickerdoodle, building off of their State of Farcaster report, which you can access at Snickerdoodle.com. This 12-part series introduces all aspects of the Farcaster ecosystem and helps you get started building your social graph and brand on Farcaster. GM Farcaster, welcome back to Farcaster 101. And you are here with Nanish Prof and Adrian, and we're going to be talking about channels today. So, Adrian, what is a channel on Farcaster?
Channels are a Farcaster, or at least a Warpcast primitive, that are like different subsections or categories within Farcaster. So you can think of them like a hashtag. They are not hashtags, and we'll explain why. But if you think about on Twitter, someone uses hashtags to kind of categorize what they're talking about. They're somewhere between a hashtag or a subreddit, like topical based areas. We're moving more in Farcaster towards channels being communities or cozy corners. So you can come into Farcaster, never join a channel, just cast into your home feed. But it's a way to segregate all of the content in Farcaster based on a topic.
Perfect. And so in this next part of our series, we are going to be chatting about channels. So we're going to talk about what are channels, moderation in channels, how to cast in channels, and also how to create a channel. Yes, you can create your own. A little something to start us off from the State of Farcaster report from Snickerdoodle. And this is a quote from Sandy Forward, the head of growth at POAP. What excites me about Farcaster is channels. I see incredible potential in these becoming modular components for on-chain social that can be integrated or alternatively actual anchor points for communities to connect and socialize. And this kind of, I think, is a great way to summarize how I see channels as well. They are many things in one, but the big unlock to me is for communities to connect and socialize. I think that is key. Adrian, can you talk a little bit about this chart from the Dune Analytics around channels on Farcaster?
Yeah, and what you're seeing here is that as of, or I guess, September of 2024, there were over 13,000 channels. We are recording in November. I guarantee there are many, many more now. Yeah. So there are a ton of channels. But what you're seeing is the vast majority of channels are pretty quiet. So someone might start a channel and there's not a lot of activity in them. There are, then of the channels that do have activity, they're kind of split between a small percentage, which are the stadium ones. So these are the ones that have really high engagement, high audience. There are subculture ones, which are kind of niche topics that are active, but maybe smaller, smaller number of people in it, but they're still quite active. And then there's like the friends ones, which tend to be much smaller, but it's almost like the private, or it's like I said, it's like the public group chat, if you will. So different categories based on size.
Yeah. Yeah. You can bring your group chat to the timeline if you want, and keep it niche. And we'll talk about moderating channels and how you can do that. So a little bit about sort of the anatomy of a channel. We have sort of on the left-hand side, when you're looking at your timeline, you'll see a list of channels, and we'll talk a little more about that in as well. But that's how you can navigate to some of these channels. And then once you're in there, you have sort of your typical social media style with a banner image, a logo that you can add to your channel, the name of your channel, a description. You can also add a link to something. In this case, for GM Farcaster, we have a link to our YouTube channel, so you can watch all of our amazing content. And also you'll see members versus following. How many people are following versus how many are members. If it is your channel, you'll be able to invite other folks to become members of that channel. So that's what the invite is. And Adrian, can you talk a little bit about the difference between members and followers of a
Yeah,
channel?
so think of a channel like a community. A member is someone who is part of that community. They are able to post inside of the channel. They can create new content. They can act. They can participate. But channels are public, so anyone can follow along and anyone can listen in. So think about members as the ones who are on stage, can post, can participate, and then followers are just kind of the audience. So you can follow any channel. You can't necessarily join any channel. That's up to the channel owner to decide who's able to become a member.
Great. And then what you're also seeing on here is the manage channels navigation. So you can edit the channel profile, manage the members, and that includes inviting you can just type in the Farcaster username to invite somebody. You also have an area where you might have your banned users. If you've banned anybody from your channel from posting in there, they'll show up there. You also have things like rituals, which is you can type in there something that'll post every single certain amount of time, like once a week, once a day, things like that. Who can cast? That's where you can moderate and note who can cast in the channel, and then you can also change the owner. In other words, you could sell your channel to somebody else or give it away. Not sell it, but give it away. Let me rephrase that.
You could sell
it. You could sell it, but maybe not. Technically, you do not own the channel per se. You're essentially renting it from Warpcast and from the Merkle team. So you have limited rights there under the terms of services. So Adrian, how do we cast in a channel? Can you give us a demo of that?
I would be happy to. So I will share my screen. Okay, so we've shown how to cast before on web. To cast in a channel is not different. You open up your cast composer. We are going to start typing a cast. And in this little drop-down box where you see the little home icon, if I just cast, it goes to home. I can click here and I will be able to choose what channel to cast into. If I choose a channel that I am not a member in, it won't let me choose it. Nouns is a channel that I'm not a member. I can't cast into it. There's another channel I am a member in. It's called Uli Posting. So I can choose that. And now that gets populated. This little tag, if I click cast, it will cast into the Uli Posting. However, a callback to a former module.
I don't know if you want to cast that one in the Uli Posting.
About how to create content, and I suggested casting into the Uli channel. So if you've been paying attention to our modules, you know why I'm not going to cast into Uli. If you do not know, you should go back and watch. Uli is a channel where you are not allowed to post the letter E. I wrote GM, everyone. I will get reprimanded, so I'm going to change this. And I will say, GM, happy Thanksgiving. And I will hit cast.
And now you'll see the tag there as well. So you see the tag next to where Adrian's name is that shows that she had casted in Uli Posting. If you click on that, it will bring you to that channel. So if you see something in your feed with a channel tag, click on that tag. It'll bring you to the channel and you can check out everything else that's in there and see if anyone's getting banned for using the letter E in the Uli Posting channel. Great. Right. Adrian, can you talk a little bit about how to find channels, a couple different ways between search and navigation?
Yeah, so if you want to look for channels, you can always, in the top right, there's a search. So let's say I want to find the nouns channel. I can search and click in the results. That brings me right to a channel. As you can see, I am not following. I'm not a member, but I can still, even not following, everything is public, so I can still see what is being posted. On the left-hand side is where you'll start to see different channels. These are channels that I follow. And at the top are channels that I've not only followed, but I've favorited. So memes and travel, New York, Farcaster are all channels that I have favorited, as well as channels that I own. Or then below that, it'll give you all the channels that you follow, including your recent ones up top and then all below. So you can
cruise through and see which ones.
Cruise through. And as you can see, Adrian follows a lot of channels, including one apparently named Poop.
I do recall that one. That had a reason for being at one point. So moving on, we're gonna within the mobile app, there is a slight difference in terms of being able to navigate to channels. It still has the same navigation on the left-hand side with your favorites as well as recents and all of the ones that you're following. But also the tabs can be seen at the top as well. So if you take a look at this, this will show you the different tabs at the top of your app that allow you to navigate as well to the different channels. So you'll see following, trending, and then the different channels that I have as favorites. So Farcaster, Farcastles, Nouns, Builder, GM Farcaster, etc. And it allows for quicker navigation through. Okay. Moving on. Adrian, how do we create a channel?
All right, so creating channels is quite simple. I'll also demo this. If you want to create a channel, bottom left, create a channel, a little modal comes up. And really all you need are 2,500 warps per year to purchase a channel, or I should say to rent a channel, and a name. Channels are not yet part of the Farcaster protocol. And the reason that is the Warpcast team, or the Farcaster core team, follows a progressive decentralization path, which is they start by incubating features within Warpcast, which is the primary client, really to find the right primitive that sticks, that has product market fit, that really works well globally. And then they want to push that to the protocol. So once this goes to the protocol, they will have a lot less control, but for now they're still in control over channels. So quite simple. We're going to create a channel. I'm going to create, let's see, if you choose a channel that already exists, you can't do it. I'm going to create a channel for my third favorite season called Spring. And that's literally as simple as it is. Reminder, you do need warps already in your account. So if you don't have that, go to settings or go to warps in your profile and follow the flow to purchase warps. And that's as simple as it is. So once you've created your channel, you can go ahead and manage your channel by changing, adding descriptions, pictures, titles, etc., or links.
And that's also where you'll find in that manage is where you can invite people to your channel as well. And you can add description, you can add a logo, you can add a banner, and as well as a link to if you have an outside place that you'd like to link back to. And Adrian, can you show on Who Can Cast how we can make this public?
I'm going to invite Nounish Prof first. So
okay, just invite me first.
All right.
And then you can also invite folks to be moderators as well. So members or moderators to your channel who can then have a little bit control.
And what did you want me to demo?
You can go to manage and then just show, they click on Who Can Cast and just show. So right now it's set to everyone. So anyone can cast and reply in this channel right now. If you switched it to members only, then it would only be those who have been invited that could cast in the channel. So it gives you a little bit of flexibility as to your approach to a channel. So for example, we mentioned the group chat as a channel. So a public sort of group chat where you might have just a handful of members and those are the only ones who can post in there. Or you might have something that anyone can post in. So that's our cast in. So that's a different way to approach different types of channels. All right, awesome. So we've created our channel. We now want to understand how to moderate a channel. So one option, if you want to limit who can join the channel, but not have to invite every single person, there's different moderating tools that can help you do that. And one of those is ModBot. And if you go to /ModBot, or I think also @ModBot, you'll be able to find some information about that. Just search ModBot in the search bar and you will find this. And this gives you a little bit of a video that shows the different ways that you can navigate through the moderation on ModBot. It shows you first the different channels that you have. That's what's back here. And then you select which channel. On this case, I selected cast out. So I could make a change as to who can join the channel. You can leave it as recommended. And what this will do is just limit, hopefully, the spam from hitting your channel feed. Or you can make it custom, which means you have different rules that you can set to decide who can be invited. But first, you do have to invite ModBot to be one of the moderators in order to set this up to make sure it works properly. So you go to settings, invite ModBot to be one of your moderators. Oops, come on, show the rest of the video. There we go. And once you do that, you will have another screen where you can set up where how you're going to set the rules as to who can be a member in the channel. So one of the cool things with ModBot and similar moderation tools, there are some from Airstack as well, is that you are able to make different rules for who can be a member, including if they hold a certain NFT, if they hold certain ERC20s, if they have through Airstack, you can do fan tokens from Moxie. So there's a whole bunch of different options as to who can cast in the channel. You can also add some cast rules and other types of settings like collaboration and other tools and activities. So lots of flexibility there, especially around it. So for example, if you have an existing community, such as a DAO, and you want to set up a channel for them and maybe use that in place of Discord or Telegram, this is a great option. You can set it so that only the members who hold the DAO token can cast a top level cast, but anyone can also reply. So it makes for, doesn't limit the participation, but it also controls the spam.
Yes. And if you have an existing community in Discord or Telegram or a DAO, get over here.
Yeah, for sure.
What are you waiting for?
What are you waiting for? So we have different types of channels, and we're going to get into this a little more in our next module, which you're going to be rolling right into in just a moment. So channels sort of started as a means of distribution, as a way of tagging, like we mentioned, similar to hashtags, where you would get greater distribution if you had casted in a channel. They've now shifted gears, and we have some that still act in that manner. Those are the public channels. So they can still act as a tag because anyone can cast in them. We also have brand channels where brands are sort of managing their communities or their brand within the channel, maybe using that more as announcement sort of focus. I think, GM Farcaster is actually a good example of this. We primarily use GM Farcaster to keep you informed about what we're doing in terms of streams and recordings. And then you have the community channels. And some, like we mentioned, are existing communities that came on to Farcaster, and others are communities that sort of evolved from Farcaster. And we'll talk more about that in our next module. Adrian, before we shift over to that, anything else that we missed in terms of the basics for channels?
I think we covered the basics of channels. You'll see when you come to Farcaster, the primitive is pretty simple and should be straightforward and intuitive if you're, it's just not that complicated. So get in there, Get in there, experiment with channels, create your own, cast into channels, join channels based on topics you find interesting. And if anything is confusing, we are here to answer questions. We have weekly office hours that you can join or tag us in your casts, and we are happy to answer questions about channels.
Awesome. All right. And we're going to head into our last module, and we'll see you in module 12, where we talk about channels and community.